It is time to breathe again on the Breath of Fresh Air webcast. So you see me, Charles, I have Patrick with me. Patrick is soldiering through, y'all. He is going on about 3 hours of sleep. So if he looks a little cranky, it's okay. But
But I'll hold it down. We'll keep
yeah, he'll hold it down. I'm glad you with me again today, Patrick. So good to have you, man. We'll try to see if we can get through it so you can get some sleep. Well, actually,
it.
shoot, Braves and Astros are playing right now, so you might not. Uh,
Yeah, it's going to be tough to go to sleep.
well, glad to have y'all with us tonight, and let's get to it. Got a lot of topics, so of course we're going to start with our college football preview and review, or review and preview. Whatever, we'll deal with the order how it comes. But how, what caught your eye from this week's action? Now, there was, in terms of the schedule, it wasn't a big time schedule in terms of a lot of ranked teams playing each other, but we did have a few surprises. So, which one
Mhm.
caught your eye?
So I have a couple of them. Appalachian State, dude.
Beating Coastal Carolina, yeah.
Coastal Carolina, dude. They came out and just they I wouldn't say they dominated both sides of the ball, but they did seem like they were the most aggressive in that game. Appalachian State, man, look, there's a lot of things that work for them. There's a lot of things that work against them in that game. Coastal Carolina is a really good team. They fundamentally sound, but man, few penalties cost Coastal Carolina some movement on the ball that killed a couple of drives for them, and then Appalachian State just capitalized on it, and so good for them. They came out and won one at home, which is always a good when you win at home. But being able to knock off 14th seed is always that much sweeter when you beat a ranked team. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, what was the other one? Illinois beating Penn State. My God, dude, it's like
Now, Patrick, we're gonna get to that game more in detail later on, but
then I'll keep my mouth shut because we're going to talk about that one. Um, the Oklahoma KU. Look, Kansas had. I gotta get my comments up. Kansas had a great game plan coming into this, but I'm I want to get your thoughts on this one before I say anything on this game. So when you mention something about it, I'll say something then because I am a little disappointed with Kansas and how they handled the second half of that game because they should have won that game. Personal opinion, but I mean, in a lot of ways, dude, I gotta, for me, I'm starting to look at pulling for Oklahoma because they're fixing to come to SEC, and I need the SEC to be stronger. So when Georgia pounds that butt for them, then it just means that much more. You know what I mean?
right.
But I was a little disappointed in Kansas and how they played that second half. I felt that they went way conservative and wasn't trying to win the game. They were just trying to not lose, and they lost. Um, Cincinnati Navy, that was a pretty good game. Um, Wisconsin Purdue, obviously Purdue cannot handle success um, at all, obviously. Um, and there was one more. Oh, Pitt and Clemson. That was a really good game. Um,
Hey,
yeah,
Clemson continues to free fall. Yeah.
yeah, they just continue to free fall. That Oregon UCLA game was really good. I wasn't surprised at the score as much as I was surprised at how well both of those teams played in that game. It was just a really hard fought game. Alabama, Tennessee. Tennessee held them off as long as they could, I guess. And then there was one more. The Miami NC State game. Miami pulling that one off 31-30. That was a pretty good game too.
So you back?
No, it's not bad.
Okay.
But,
I just wanted to get you.
but there was glimmers of the team that should have been there at the beginning of the season. That's what I was looking at for the most part, because every time I saw it, Miami would fight through adversity. Where you haven't seen that much out of Miami throughout the season, but then they get home and they play NC State, which honestly they probably, I mean, like, NC State probably should have won that based on sheer better team. But I saw a lot of glimmers of the reason why Miami was ranked top 10, but then there's always that you got to win the games you're not supposed to. You got to win the games you're supposed to win too, Miami. So no, the U is not back in my opinion, but there was glimmers of a team that actually probably should have been there for the entire season, but wasn't.
Oh, man, Miami got a long way to go. But
they do, but you can see where that's the team that a lot of people were expecting. You know what I mean? And they just don't show it every day. They just showed it the fourth quarter of that day.
Well, yeah, the Oregon UCLA game, that I caught a good amount of that one. Oregon jumped out to a lead. I think they were up 34-17. UCLA came back, made it 34-31, had a chance to at least tie with a field goal, and then Oregon got an interception. So what a big picture for Oregon. They're still alive in their quest to go for a college football playoff berth. Looks like they're going to need some help to get there, but at least they're still in there if they win out, and see what happens with the rest of the teams in front of them. Oklahoma State and Iowa State. That was probably the best game of the day. That was Iowa State winning 24-21, and it was a tight game going back and forth. Iowa State was able to pull it out, and it just kind of let the rest of the Big 12 know, hey, they were probably overranked. I mean, they had them like number 8 or something like that to begin the season. Probably too high for Iowa State, but there's still a lot of good players and a good team there. So they're right there. They had, I think they lost to Baylor. Yeah, they lost to Baylor in conference, lost to Iowa out of conference. So it's not like they're in the running for a national championship, but hey, they can rule in other teams if if they can't get there.
Maybe can you?
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned the Alabama Tennessee game. That score, I know it was 52-24, but Tennessee was hanging with Alabama until the fourth quarter. That game was 31-24, and Alabama hit a couple of big plays to make it 38-24. Tennessee threw an interception. Then the game just got away from them from there. But Tennessee, you can see where they are showing improvements there. If they decide, and I know we talked about this earlier on the phone, but if they decide to stay with Josh Heupel as the coach, maybe, just maybe, they can start to build something in Knoxville. They just have to be patient and see what he can do. He can get his recruits in there, and maybe Tennessee will start to get back to what they were in the Philip Fulmer, Peyton Manning days. I mean, actually, they won that national champion. Well, okay, we can't count that because it's before 2005. But
you can still you can't reminisce on history. You can say this is what happened, but we got to move on.
So they won that championship with T. Martin as the quarterback, but I mean, they had some solid teams there, and it's been a while since they've been even solid. So maybe they might be on their way.
Well, they got to pick a coach and stick with them, but yes, I agree.
So, did your door open behind you?
Oh, I probably didn't shut it all the way. Let me shut it real quick.
I'm just wondering. I didn't know if one of the sons were trying to creep in.
Probably. Who knows?
But okay. Oklahoma and Kansas. All right. So I caught the second half of this game. Kansas was winning 10-0 at the half. Look, Patrick, it's Kansas. So, so I wasn't, as much as I was pulling for it and rooting for it, I wasn't expecting them to hold on to the lead. I felt Oklahoma was gonna wake up eventually and make a run. Kansas had some plays. The play calling, it was a little conservative, but I don't think ultimately it was the main reason why they lost. They had some plays there to be made. They're right there, like when they were down, when they ended up being down 21-17, they had something going. Dude fumbles the ball. And Caleb Williams, he made some plays down the stretch. He had the big run to make it 28-17. Kansas came back and answered 28-23, and then they stopped Oklahoma. They had Oklahoma stopped on fourth down on a running play by Kennedy Brooks. Caleb Williams, I don't know if you saw this play, but Caleb Williams grabbed the ball from him, just took the ball from his own running back and got the first down.
Yeah, I still see that play.
Yeah, now I can't stand Texas North, but that was a very heady, great play there by Caleb Williams to keep that drive alive, and those are reasons why Lincoln Riley goes with him instead of keeping Spencer Rattler in there. Rattler's not coming close to making plays like that. So, so me personally, I mean, dude, it's Kansas. I mean, dude, I was happy just to see them up at halftime.
They're 50% winners.
Yeah. But they played inspired. I mean, Kansas did come at them with everything. And Oklahoma looked like a team that just felt like they could just show up and win the game. And it got hit in the face.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they woke up, give them credit, but to me, I mean, it's normal Oklahoma. Okay, they can score, really can't stop anybody. I look forward to seeing what happens in this next stretch of games because they'll see, well, they got Texas Tech next, and then they have Baylor, yeah, and then
They
they have
finish a game first.
Yeah, and then they have Baylor, Iowa State, and Oklahoma State to finish off. So we'll see what happens there. And like I said, I'm still good with saying Oklahoma's going to catch a loss or two still. So that's where I'm at with it.
If it's from Texas Tech better think that they can finish a game first because I don't know any team that. Well, I do know plenty of teams that's happened. How you up 24-7 and you lose 25-24? Going into the fourth quarter, it was like I think going into the fourth quarter was it 24-10?
Yeah, it's been rough in Lubbock. They just fired the coach too. It's rough going on in Lubbock. But hey man, anything else before we get to the preview of next week's games?
Nope.
All right, man. Well, let's look at next week's games. What is standing out to you there?
Okay, so one of the games I think is going to be fantastic is going to be Michigan State, dude.
It's pretty big day in the Big Ten.
It's going to be a very big day in the Big Ten. I'm actually pretty excited to watch that game. I want to see which team is going to and take your words from this. Which team is going to handle success the best? I want to see that. I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. What was that? 6-8 going against each other. So it's a top 10 matchup. So somebody's going to drop from the top 10 on Sunday. Who's it going to be? I don't know. I'm probably dude. That's a hard game to pick, though. I will tell you this. I'm glad we're not picking any right now. Though we should have had that to a segment. We should pick 5 games throughout the season, throughout the week, and then do our own little thing like what they do on Saturday. Just saying, throw it out
Look,
there.
wow. So look, I mean, we've been actually kind of slacking on that. I know normally we do big scores of games. I know we've been kind of slacking on that. So maybe
Yeah,
next week we'll start to do that again.
yeah, because that's always fun. That's good fun. You know what I mean? Um, Texas Baylor, man. I like to see Texas come back and actually put together a season. I mean, come on, Texas, come on.
We can't finish games. So
No, you can't. It's dude, depth, man. It's all depth. That's what I'm saying. Um, last week, Cincinnati showed some weaknesses. I want to see if this Tulane team can exploit some of those on Cincinnati. So,
sneaky game.
huh?
Sneaky game.
It is a sneaky game, very sneaky game, and Cincinnati better put their big shorts on for Tulane, because Tulane can get them if they get too relaxed. Don't go in thinking you're just going to win because you show up. Texas North. That's all I'm saying. Cincinnati better be ready, because Tulane will sneaky in that game. Can be real sneaky. Oh, of course. My game of the week, other than Michigan State, Georgia, Florida. It's always an intense week after bye week. I enjoy the bye week for Georgia, but I always have to fret, so I don't get to really enjoy the bye week, because every bye week, the next game is Florida. I think that game is crazy how that works out. How Georgia and Florida both get a bye week right before they play each other.
Yeah, they do that for some of the games. I think they normally do it
like that every year for years.
Yeah, they normally do it for LSU and Alabama too, before they play each other. So I think it's just certain games where they're like, hey, you know what? Both of y'all, since y'all about to beat each other up, we'll give you this bye week. You go ahead and get this extra bit of rest.
Get y'all 100% so that we can watch a good game.
Yeah. So yep, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, always fun. They're in Jacksonville. Mississippi and Auburn. Ole Miss and Auburn.
I'm not done.
Oh, you're not done. Oh, my bad.
Dude, this is a big week. This is a big week for me. I'm like
Patrick, I'm sorry. You know what? Normally
I normally finish on Georgia. I normally finish on Georgia.
It's okay. Yeah, and normally you interrupt me. I'm sorry, man. I'm kind of glad I returned the favor.
Patrick, stop it.
Yeah.
No, there's just a couple more games that I want to go. Colorado and Oregon. Let's see if Oregon can stay in the mix, so to speak. So I'm kind of curious about that game, because Colorado, in a lot of ways, that team can be sneaky too. And Oregon gets caught sleeping, Colorado can beat them. Just saying. Mississippi State, Auburn. You mentioned that one. There was one more. Penn State, Iowa State, or Ohio State. Penn State, Ohio State. Let's see if Penn State can bounce back. I doubt it, but I look. Only way Ohio State's taking a loss right now is going to be either Michigan and Michigan State. That's about it. And I'm not even like.
I see Penn State getting blown out. I do. Penn State.
And they're playing in Ohio?
Yeah, in Columbus. Yeah.
That is a 55-3 game.
Yeah, Penn State is. Yeah, I
want to see if they can bounce back. I don't think they will, but it still is a top 25 matchup, and I gotta say something.
Yes. Well, anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, yeah. Mississippi or Ole Miss and Auburn. Like I mentioned, I mean, I think that was really interesting because the West is crazy. They're gonna end up playing each other here in the next few weeks, and so I'm talking A&M, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Auburn. They're all gonna play each other in the next few weeks, and it's going to be pretty wild to see how everything ends up. Now, of course, Alabama, they've already played Ole Miss and A&M. Of course, they have the Iron Bowl with Auburn coming up, but the rest of them, they're going to play each other in the next few weeks, and it'll be interesting to see if Ole Miss can keep the pressure on Bama to keep that because they have that head-to-head win. So Alabama they can't lose it because if they lose, and then A&M keeps it up. Well, now A&M got the tiebreaker on Alabama because they beat them, and so so it that game is huge in the SEC West. Um, you mentioned Michigan and Michigan State, so this is where Michigan is going to show me just how serious they are. Yeah, they're undefeated. We know they're ranked number 6. But now, meat of the schedule. Starting with Michigan State. That game is in East Lansing, too. So it's go time for Michigan. Actually, can we take these guys seriously enough to where maybe, just maybe, they can ultimately unseat Ohio State, maybe beat Ohio State. A lot of work to do in between then where they do play them, but this would be a good start if they are able to knock off Michigan State. Uh, that might be a 2017 type of game. Honestly, I don't see a whole bunch of scoring in there. It's just going to be physical. They're both going to try to run the ball, and it's gonna be a throwback Smash Mouth game from what I can tell.
I agree. I really don't see either one of those teams scoring over 30 points. I mean, you said 27-20 type of game. I
2017. Like I think it's a little scoring than that.
2017, I can see a 17-14 too. I mean, I really do not. I can see it 17-14 all the way up to 30-27. Anything past that, I mean, like if you want to give it a few points, like a plus minus 3, what I'm saying. There's not much scoring after 30. I think this is going to be run, 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 and when you're tired, we're going to put in another running back to run. And if I run out of running backs, I'll put a wide receiver in there to run. That's literally what I see.
So, yeah, it'd be. I like the throwback games, so I don't mind it. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. I know what you're cheering about. The Kentucky and Mississippi State. That would be an interesting game for me to see. Going down to Starkville is Kentucky. Always a tough place to play. I think Kentucky will be okay. They should be able to win that game, but Mississippi State can throw the ball pretty well. So we'll see what Kentucky does if they're able, how they bounce back from the loss to Georgia. You mentioned the world's largest outdoor cocktail party with Georgia and Florida. There was one more game that I was looking at here. Go on back to the schedule. All right, so you have Miami going to Pittsburgh. So see how Pittsburgh handles success.
And see if Miami can continue their success.
Right. Yeah.
Pittsburgh can win that game, but
They should. They should. But Pittsburgh and that quarterback up there, I think his name is Kenny Pickett. So now he's starting to get some Heisman hype. I have no idea who is a Heisman favorite at this point. It just seems like a
ain't nobody.
wide open race. Because none of the people really. Well, I mean, I guess Bryce Young. Bryce Young was getting some looks for the Heisman, but I don't know. He's kind of. I mean, I guess he's had a good year. It just seems a little bit uneven because I guess Alabama hasn't looked as dominant as they have in past years. But I mean, I guess he's kind of the favorite ish.
I haven't seen somebody that I'm just like there's your Heisman winner.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I just haven't. I mean, there's nobody that really sticks out. Most of the things that I see, they're either heavily team wins or heavily team losses, and really nobody just like puts the team on their shoulder. Oklahoma's quarterback Williams, maybe him, because without him, that he is a true MVP on our caliber of standing. Because
He
without
came
him,
in late.
okay, well there you go. Now that kind of ruins my whole thought. But he is by our status, by the way me and you, he is a true MVP because the team wouldn't be where it's at if it wasn't for him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But anybody to just stand out saying they will be the Heisman, I haven't seen it yet.
Well, and yeah, maybe Pickett is the guy who is starting to rise up for Pittsburgh, and I mean they have a good record right now. They have one loss, so if they can come in there, hey, like was it you who said last week, Pittsburgh and Wake Forest in the ACC championship game? Let's go, let's get it.
Hey, who Wake Forest got this week? Oh, they got Duke.
Yeah,
should handle that.
They were in a shootout too, man. You know, you talk about the academies. Before we move on to the Illinois Penn State game to talk about that in great detail, talk about the academies. You mentioned Navy gave Cincinnati a game. Army and Wake Forest, dude, that game was 70-56.
Yeah.
So ridiculous. So anything before we do move on to talk about this Illinois Penn State game?
Nope, that's it.
All right, well then let's jump on this Illinois Penn State game. You brought it up earlier, but this was one of the wacky games, not just for the last week, but maybe ever. 9 overtimes it went to, and the final score was 20-18. Now the new rules.
That right there, it throws me off so much, man. When I saw that, I was like, how the hell is that not 100 to 105? Something crazy.
So the new rules that was brought in there for overtime this year is I think the first 2 overtimes it goes based off of a touchdown, or you get to match the score at the first team scores. In the second overtime, if you score a touchdown, you have to go for 2. If you make it, okay, cool. If not, then you don't. The other team gets the match. After the second overtime, it is 2-point conversions all the way through. And I think it was until the 8th overtime where nobody scored. And then the 8th overtime, they finally got some 2-point conversions for each other. And then Illinois scored after getting the ball back to make it 20-18. So lots of ways we can go with this, Patrick. But I guess number one, what did you think about the game, and do you like this overtime rule?
Well, first thing, I love the fact that this is one thing I love about college football and their overtime rule is that you have to have a winner. That's what I love. That's what is why I love baseball. It's there's no tie. There's no oh, we're going to give you 2 overtimes if nobody scores, and then it's a tie. That's one thing I don't like about the NFL. But with the college, I have to say this first and foremost. I do like the fact that in college you have to have a winner. That's one. 2, I wish they did do something like the way that, like how, where do they where do they start in overtime? Do they start on the 25 or is that a kickoff?
They start on the 25 for the first couple of drives, and then after the second overtime, then they start I guess wherever they it's either the 2 or 3 yard line where they spot the ball to go for 2. Then that's where they spot it going forward until there is a winner.
Okay.
Like as if they were going for 2. They're just doing that.
And that's how the overtime goes. So you go for 2, 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 you go for 2. Okay. I mean, personally, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I wish they would kind of. I wish they would do something different, and this is just hypothetically speaking. I wish, like in the first quarter or the first overtime, they started at 25. The second one, they started at 20. Third, they started at 15, 10, 5, something like that, and make it to where it's a little more than just one play and you go for two kind of thing. I, I wish there was a little bit more football to be played because I think overtimes wouldn't go into 9 overtimes before you get a winner. You know what I mean? Um, I think it is kind of like it they're it's like they kind of try to prolong the game. You know what I mean? So I don't there's a few things I don't like about the overtime rule. I wish they would just do 2 overtimes, start at the 25, and then start working their way in. You know what I mean? And then just let them play football instead of trying to go for two at the end of the thing. But um, it's a lot better than the NFL, in my personal opinion. I do like it because you have to have a winner. That's the biggest thing for me.
The all right. So the reasoning behind why they decided to change up the rules is because I guess they didn't want something to happen like was it LSU and Texas A&M a few years ago that went to 7 overtimes and the final score was something stupid 74-72. I remember when Arkansas and Kentucky went to 7 overtimes one year as well. But it was kind of a player safety reasoning for why they wanted to do it this way. Here's my thing with that though, Patrick. It's not like these overtime games are happening every day. Like I just mentioned two. And how many games have been played over
Over
the
the course of
year?
5 years.
You're right. Where you've seen 7 overtime games. They don't happen often. So to me, I would have been fine with them leaving it the way it was. Hey, you get the ball at the 25, you score, team gets a chance to match it. If you don't score and the team gets a chance to win it after they get the ball back, I'm fine with that. But like you said, the main thing is at least there's a winner.
Yeah.
It doesn't end in no tie or anything like that. And me personally, I've never really been worried about how long the game goes. Hey, it's got to be a winner sometimes. Sometimes it's going to take longer than others. Oh well. And so,
And you know
so
my saying, like in baseball, when it goes past 9 innings, what do I say? Free baseball, baby.
free
That's what
baseball,
I
yeah.
like. I love free baseball, man.
Yep. And and you mentioned that, dude. I went to an 18 inning game. So as a matter of fact,
You got me
that
beat on
18
that. I went to 16, and that was my longest.
that 18 inning game, as a matter of fact, is between the two teams that are in the World Series right now.
Yep.
So I was up in Atlanta that and happened to catch that game. But yeah, man, to me, look, just let them play. I was cool. I don't. I think I understand because you want to continue to tinker with stuff. You want to continue to try to evolve with stuff. There's some things that don't need to be touched. This one I really didn't think needed to be touched. Get the ball at the 25-yard line. Each team gets a shot. Whatever scores, and if they get to match it or perhaps win it, cool. Um, I guess within regards of this particular game with Illinois and Penn State, there was Penn State is a hot mess right now to me. And what I think is happening, number one, yeah, and you know I've said this a lot. I don't think James Franklin's that good of a coach.
Mhm.
Number two, he has been rumored to take the USC job. I do think there is probably a part of that is probably getting to the players, and maybe that message might be wearing a little bit thin,
Mhm.
maybe just a little bit. Um, Great win by Illinois, good win for Illinois for them to be able to go out to State College, Happy Valley as they call it, and pull that win out, and maybe Illinois can start to build something with Brett Bielema, but if you're Penn State, you can't lose that game. You are right there in the race in the Big Ten conference. You can't lose to Illinois. Sorry.
Yeah.
All the credit to Illinois. You can't lose to them. I don't care if they went to 20 overtimes, but you got you got to
You
find a way
have
to pull
to
that out.
win that game.
Yeah.
You have to. And again, to anybody that's an Illinois fan, we're not taking anything away from that Illinois
No,
game.
great game. Great win for y'all.
Great win for y'all. But in the mix of things and in the grand scheme of what Penn State is trying to do as a football team and as an organization, just like Illinois, you got to win that game. And if you're not winning that game, then you're obviously not cut out to be in the mix.
So, Patrick, anything else to add on our 20 overtime game before we move on to the NFL?
Nope.
All right, man. Well, let's jump right into it, man. What caught your eye from last week?
First and foremost, those Patriots, man. that was a relentless beatdown of the Jets, dude. I was like, that is all right, Mac, calm down. I was like, calm down. I know you've had a lot of built up frustration, but dude, 54-13, that was just an absolute beatdown.
Patrick, that might have been more Bill Belichick. Just
probably that is some pent up frustration, man. We're taking it out on somebody
because they've been close. The Patriots have been close. They were in overtime with Dallas. You saw how close the game was with Tampa Bay, and they lost by a point in week 1 to the Dolphins. So, I mean, the Patriots they've been close. They could be 6-1 right now, but they are 3-4.
They are 3-4, and that right there was a statement game. That's what that was. And they are trying to say, all right, we have got to put the past behind us. Bill Belichick is like, look, I am not letting Tampa Brady freaking win another Super Bowl. I got to do something.
Tampa Bay? No.
I am not letting him win another. So we got to do something to start matching this because I am not letting him run away from me. The Giants on a solid win against Carolina. I think Carolina's starting to fall apart, man. For 3 straight wins, looked dominant in those 3 straight wins. 4 straight losses. Now they're starting to have some problems. And the Giants, just very, very convincing win for the Giants. So congratulations to those New York Giants for that. Kansas City, tear it apart. Time to blow it up. Look, they lost against Tennessee. I get it. Tennessee, obviously, but Tennessee's a great team, and they are. And I'm not taking anything away from it. But man, it's time. It's time to be some furniture moving in KC because they can't stop crap. They are horrible defensively, and they can't even score on offense. I don't care how much Patrick Mahomes is trying his best. I get it, but he's got to have players around him. And Jesus, I don't know. After 1 quarter, I think I saw 4 dropped passes. I mean, literally, the ball was right in their hands. Can't even freaking catch the ball. It bounces. I was like, Kansas City needs to do some furniture moving. Those Rams. That was
Lions played them tough.
Lions played them really tough. I was actually impressed with the way the Lions played.
They're competing. They are scrapping out there.
They are scrapping. They are competing. But with Jared Goff as your quarterback, you're only going to scrap so much before you start throwing interceptions and losing fumbles. And you know the rules. It's literally Jared Goff's. It's his rule of thumb. I'm going to play you strong for 3 quarters, and then I'm going to give you the game in the 4th. It's just the way he plays. Tampa Bay beating the crap out of Chicago. That was not surprising at all. Chicago can't stop anybody, and Chicago can't score. I
don't. They need changes.
They need a lot of change.
Matt Nagy needs to go. He's terrible as a coach, and the GM probably needs to go too. Like they need some wholesale changes in Chicago.
And I'm not even saying it's the team. I'm not even saying the team The players need to they need to take the internal
The front
on
office.
management and get rid of it. It is
Yep.
horrible. That offensive coordinator gotta go. Defensive coordinator gotta go. Line coach gotta go. Head coach gotta go. Everybody, it's a get them out. Get them out because there is nobody that can call a play. And I can tell you right now, under whatever regime is going on in Chicago, you're setting Justin Fields back. He is not reading defenses. He can't read them. He's not progressing through he's not going through his progressions. He's selling where he's going every time I watch him. I mean, he is selling it. He like those linebackers feeding off of him every time he makes a pass because he gets lucky with those linebackers and those corners because can't count how many times that ball is just they turn around and the ball is right there in their hands. They just can't make the play on it because it's just like so fast. You know what I mean? But hey, that kid he should probably have 50 interceptions. He cannot sell anything. He's looking one way. He plans on going another, but he'll never turn his head. I've just whoever is coaching him, they have got to get him out of there because Justin Fields is not getting coached right. And then I said it last week. I said that this is where the 49ers season could start. Sorry, Charles. Indianapolis played them strong, though, man. They played them strong.
Well, all right. Are you? Did you have anything else before?
No, that was the last one.
So, so I'll be kind of quick with mine, man. With the 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo does not look confident out there. Does not. He looks really fidgety. He doesn't look like he is seeing the field well. He's only throwing to Deebo Samuel. Now I get this. George Kittle is out right now. Hopefully he can come back in the next couple of weeks. But he's only throwing to Deebo Samuel. There's all these other receivers out there, and it looks like he doesn't trust them. He doesn't trust what he's seeing. And when pressure comes, he crumbles. I mean, he just crumbles to the ground. Like if there's any bit of a blitz that's coming for you, that man is falling, Patrick. Like it's not even, I'm standing here and take this throw. It's, oh my God, I don't want to get sacked. And he falls. So there's some issues there. Kyle Shanahan's going to have to coach him up. And the 49ers, I mean, look, they got some time. But it doesn't look good. It's pretty disappointing with them sitting in 2-4. I will say that. Kansas City, we know the problems with Kansas City. They can't stop anybody. They don't run the ball well. Just too much for Patrick Mahomes to overcome right now, simply put. Yep. And if they can't score, then it's going to look really bad, just like it did 27-3 to the Tennessee Titans. But all the credit to me goes to the Titans. They beat Buffalo and Kansas City in consecutive weeks. This team is for real. Another team that is for real, the Cincinnati Bengals. These dudes went into Baltimore and destroyed the Ravens 41-17. This team is for real. And for all those people who wanted to talk about how great Justin Herbert is, just remember, Joe Burrow was the number one pick for a reason. And Joe Burrow, to me, is the best quarterback in that draft class. He was playing pretty well last year until he got hit on his knee in that game against the WTFs. So, I mean, he's back now, looking healthy. That offense looks explosive. That defense has a lot of good young players on there.
And he has time in the pocket, dude.
Yeah. The
Even
offensive line
like that, he still had time in the pocket.
The offensive line is playing very well, and this was supposed to be a perceived weakness for Cincinnati. Everybody was saying, well, they don't protect Joe Burrow. The offensive line is weak. Well, that offensive line is playing pretty well. And if they continue playing like this, then Joe Burrow is going to continue to improve and perhaps get himself in the MVP race. Perhaps. Depending on how Cincinnati's in it. Because look, here's the thing, Patrick. I know the season, or I know the preseason or the postseason doesn't start today, but if it did, Cincinnati would be your number one seed in the AFC right now. So, hey, I look. I think Cincinnati, they will probably catch a few losses, of course, going through the season. But this team is for real. It's not because Cincinnati's garbage. Cincinnati is coming. A lot
And
of
they're
young.
not playing. And they're not playing garbage competition. That's another thing. They're not playing garbage competition. And they're not playing like your. And don't get me wrong, they are garbage right now. But like the Giants, they're not playing the Giants like week in and week out. They're not playing the Dolphins week in and week out. No, they're playing Kansas City. They're playing Baltimore. They're playing top tier.
Should, probably should have beat Green Bay.
Probably,
Yeah.
honestly. Yeah. So they're playing really good competition. And honestly, they're playing competition that they're probably going to see again in the playoffs. That's what's crazy about this Cincinnati team is, and and a lot of people, like you said, I want to say this, and then I know we gotta move on. Like you said, you said it better than anybody. Joe Burrows was picked number one for a reason, and he was playing extremely well last year before the injury, and he's right back where he was at. He sees the field very well. He has time to go through his progressions, and he is carrying the team. I mean, 41 points on Baltimore in Baltimore. That's impressive. I tip my cap to that.
What are you looking forward to this week?
Oh, I hadn't even looked at the schedule. Give me a second. I'll pull it up real
All
quick.
right. Well, while you're looking at the schedule, I'll jump. I'll give mine real quick. You got the Packers and Cardinals on Thursday night. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably the game of the week because of the records and where they all stand. Uh, you have the Panthers and Falcons. I think that one's kind of interesting because I think Atlanta might be starting to figure some things out, and I want to see if Carolina can stop this losing streak. Uh, Tampa Bay and New Orleans could be interesting. I think Tampa Bay should probably win that game, even though they are playing in the Superdome down there in New Orleans. But that could be interesting, sneaky.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Dallas and Minnesota, Pittsburgh and Cleveland. And so the Dallas Minnesota one is Sunday night. And another one, the Patriots and Chargers. I want to see what Justin Herbert is going to do against the Bill Belichick defense there and see if he can put some points up on them. But yeah, those are the games I'm looking forward to.
Okay. Um. So the Green Bay, Arizona. I agree with you. That is probably the game of the week. Um, I mean, you got Green Bay 6-1, Cardinals 7-0, and Green Bay is going to Arizona for this. So I think that one has all the potential to be the best game of the week, and that's just not. I even after the whole week plays out and all the games play, I still think that would probably be the best game of the week. I'm really interested to see if Arizona can stay undefeated. One, and they are playing against a very stingy defense right now against in that Green Bay Packers. So we'll see how that goes. I know as you mentioned the Carolina Falcons game. That's as much as I'm going to say.
Okay.
Um, um, a game that I thought was, I think it was going to, but you mentioned that you grabbed it before. I said Pittsburgh and Cleveland. I think that one is going to be a really good game. I think Cleveland will ultimately win that game, but Pittsburgh's going to give them everything they can handle. So I really look forward to that game. Um, I think there's a surprise game out there. I think it's going to be a lot better than the records show. I think it's going to be better than, and I think some people are going to overlook it, but that Tennessee Indianapolis game, I think, is going to be a lot better than Tennessee will win. I do have Tennessee winning that game.
Indy can win that game. They can, just because of the familiarity that they have within each
Yeah.
other, the NFC, AFC South, and
So
it's in Indy too. So
and it's in Indy too. So I think that's going to be a lot better game than many people will give that one credit to. And then you mentioned the Tampa Bay New Orleans game. That one's interesting to me because New Orleans, I feel they're starting to mesh as a team very well. And are they going to be able to beat Tampa? I don't think so. But we're going to see. We're definitely going to see what New Orleans is made of in this game, and if they're going to be a contender in the future, or if they're just going to be New Orleans. You know, are they able to move? This was the biggest question I have for New Orleans coming into the season. Are they going to be able to move past Drew Brees? That was the biggest question, and they show signs that they are fine with it, and they show signs that they're not okay with it. You know what I mean? So I I would like to see if New Orleans is going to be a contender or not. Don't get me wrong; they're in my conference. They're in my division, and I'd much rather see them lose. But I'd also like to see if they are going to be a contender or not. So I think that's a big game for New Orleans, a lot bigger game than the records show.
Um. Anything else catching your eye before we move on to the next topic?
One more thing: New York Giants, 3-5.
Yes. So you think they're beating Kansas City?
I don't think they beat Kansas City. I think Kansas City beats themselves.
Well, all right. So either way, it's going to go on the win column for the Giants, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, Patrick. I'm just going to ask this simple question to get into the next topic here, and then you take it where it goes. Is it time to break up the Miami Dolphins?
Yes. And that starts all the way at the top. Get rid of everybody. Do a complete cleaning of the house. Get some young talent in, and unfortunately, it was the question you had about Tua for years. Is he as good as advertised? Coming out of Alabama, making those big wins, making those, is he as good as advertised? And me and you said, no, he's not. Well, now you see why.
Tua has not been treated well.
No.
Now, yes, we're not high on Tua. We don't think he is that guy. But the Miami Dolphins management has not treated him well at all. They threw him out there. He probably wasn't ready to play. When he was out there, we've talked about it. When he was out there, they pulled him out twice just to bring Brian Fitzpatrick back in there. And he's been hurt. He's either getting pulled out or he's been hurt. So he really hasn't had, as much as we have said we don't feel like he's the guy, he really has not gotten a fair chance in Miami really to succeed. Now, I get it. I know he got put in there early, but I don't necessarily think that was as much of a coaching move as it was coming from the top, because they're trying to sell tickets and, play with that quote unquote flashy new toy, or shiny new toy. And the shiny new toy is not a good quality toy. Just simply put. But the environment there, man, they're 1-6. They were supposed to be contending for the playoffs. Right now, dude, they look like they could be right back in contention for the #1 spot in next year's NFL draft. They look that bad. And The defense, this was supposed to be a top unit. They're not playing worth a damn right now. The offense still with the same issues. The receivers can't stay healthy. Devontae Parker continuously hurt. Uh, Jalen Waddle, I mean, he's hit or miss. I mean, they're not running the ball. It's the same issues. So I'm with you with that whole let's blow it up. Uh, and it starts from the top down. Like Brian Flores, it looked like he was starting to turn things around. I mean, look, Miami was 10-6 last year. So I mean, I don't know what is going on, but they have just as many losses already this year as they had did all last year, and there's 10 games left in the season. So it's not looking good. All these trade rumors going on with Tua. Are they going to trade for Deshaun Watson? Oh, by the way, Patrick, if they do decide to make that trade for Deshaun Watson, that is one of the most irresponsible things that I think any management can do. You have no idea what the situation with Deshaun Watson is right now. You're going to give away all this draft capital to get him because the Houston Texans want 80 first round draft picks and 40 second round draft picks and 20 of your players for Deshaun Watson. If you go
not
ahead,
to mention the $20 million that comes with it.
yeah, if you make that move, that is irresponsible and that's career suicide to me.
Yeah.
So to me, yeah, Miami, I think that it's probably time to go ahead and you talk about furniture moving, yeah,
It's time to move some furniture. And truthfully, I'd probably start with all the management and I'd keep a few key pieces. And as much as I don't think that he is the man to take Miami anywhere, I'd probably keep Tua.
That's the thing. Like I don't think he's the problem. Yeah, so I'm
No.
with you there. He hasn't
He's
gotten a
definitely
fair
not
shot really.
either, but
Like I think he could play, but you just need better stuff around him if you're going to get maximum stuff.
agreed.
Well, Patrick, since we both agree it's probably time to do some furniture moving down there in South Beach, let's get to our last topic, man. So we've heard you cheering a little bit, and that is because the World Series is on. So you got a very good matchup. You have the Atlanta Braves representing the National League, and you have the Houston Astros representing the American League. Game one is going on right now. We talked about our picks for this series beforehand, and we want to share that with y'all out there watching. So, Patrick, what do you have for this series? And who do you have winning?
Okay. So, like you said, great matchup. Atlanta versus Houston. It's a great matchup. And both of these teams went through absolute stellar teams to get here. Houston having to beat Boston, and Boston was putting up some crazy numbers, history mounting numbers. I mean, how do you hit 3 grand slams in 3 games? I mean, seriously, you know what I mean? But the Boston team, either one of those teams were going to be tough coming out of the AL, and Boston and Houston are both strong teams. Houston prevailed, and I'm going to give you a little bit of and I know I got a couple minutes before I got to get off here. So Houston, they're pitching. I give Houston the edge in pitching. As much as Atlanta has great pitching, I think Houston has great pitching as well. Atlanta has to play the matchup game, and whoever is going to go out there for Houston, you got to match them very well in Atlanta. And Atlanta is going to, and I think Atlanta has the personnel to do that. So yes, I give the slight edge to Houston, but Atlanta has all the personnel as far as pitching to match them very, very well. I do give the lineup to Atlanta. I think Atlanta has a stronger lineup. Not because of power by no means. Even with Ronald Acuna out, I think Atlanta has a better lineup because they are patient. They are not first ball swingers. I mean, I say that as Rosario is probably one of the worst about that, but everybody else around him are very patient batters. Rosario just he likes his first pitch. I can't blame the man because if it's right there, take it. You know what I mean? So I give the slight edge to Atlanta. Defense, that to me is an absolute wash. Both of those teams are very, very good at defense. I know that the score right now does not say that for Houston, but Houston is a phenomenal defense. And that is not defense that is costing them the game right now. That is 2 home runs. So Atlanta matches up very well to Houston. So with that being said, I do have I do have Atlanta winning the series in 7 games. This is one of those series that is going to go 7. It's going to go 7. There is no way that this will be shorter than definitely shorter than 6. It won't be that. So I give the edge to Atlanta. These scores will be something crazy. You'll see 15-9 games, or you'll see 2-1. So, but I got Atlanta winning in 7.
I'll be quick with mine. I got. God, I'm still kind of thinking about it myself, but I'll just say this: both teams are deserving of winning, and I wouldn't be mad if either team won it. For Houston, I've always been a fan of Dusty Baker as a manager, so it'd be cool to see him get his first ring. And for, like we talked about earlier, if Houston won, it would shut the haters up. And part of me wants to see them shut the haters up because everyone's like, "Oh, Houston cheated, blah blah." Houston's still good, y'all. Just so y'all know. And even after the whole thing in 2017, whatever sign stealing scandal that was going on, they made it at least to the American League Championship Series every year after that. So they're still good. That there's got to be some skill there if they're still making it there. For Atlanta, grinding out that win over the LA Dodgers, knocking them out in 6 games. It is, yeah, I think it's really, really tight. It's going to be down the middle there. I was leaning toward Houston, but I do think Atlanta's going to pull this out here. So I think Atlanta will pull it out. I'm with you. I think it will go 6 or 7 games, probably 7. I think those teams are that well evenly matched with each other. Both of them got good lineups. They both got good pitching staffs. The defenses are good too. So, yeah, I don't see any glaring edge for anybody in this. But yeah, I'm with you. I got Atlanta winning in 7 games.
I like your pick, Charles.
Well, Patrick, we got to get out, man. So
can I say one more thing?
Yep, quickly.
Okay, for Houston and Atlanta, this has got to be what?
I don't know, right?
Anyway, for Atlanta and Houston,
says the man with no face. But go ahead.
Right. Yeah, way to own that, Ethan. But with Atlanta and Houston, the commissioner, what's his name? Manfred?
Rob Manfred.
Yeah. This has got to be the worst World Series that he could possibly have because he has to deal with fans on both sides of this. Houston being the team that he had to penalize for the cheating. Mind you, they are still good. And then Atlanta pulling out the All-Star game and putting it in Colorado. And here we are. Atlanta's still making their money. So good luck with that, Manfred. Because you've got haters on both sides, and you got to, in 1 week, you got to hand a trophy to one of those 2 teams. Good luck.
And on that note, that will conclude the Breath of Fresh Air webcast. Y'all make sure y'all go to the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel and smash that subscribe button and keep the likes coming on the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. Everybody take care. Y'all enjoy the games that are coming up for the week. Enjoy the World Series. Enjoy the Thursday night game with the Packers and Cardinals and this weekend of football. And we will have shorties. We'll see. But we'll have a couple hopefully coming up before the week is out. So until then, everybody take care and y'all have a good evening.